Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Gina, and let's talk about plants. So in this video, we're going to be talking about Hoyas and root rot or dry rot. So recently I was asked a question, so I had my Q&A video recently, and someone put in a question too late. I had already made the video, so I told them that I would go ahead and dedicate a whole video to this question. And the question was, what do I do with Hoyas that get dry rot or root rot? Like my process for saving the plant, what I do to when I get dry rot or root rot, what I do. So that's what this whole video is going to be about. And luckily, or not so luckily, I do have a plant that I think most likely is in the throes of root rot or dry rot. No, I think it's root rot. You'll see. So first thing I thought let's go over what is root rot or what is dry rot. What is the difference between the two? So root rot is typically when you overwater your plants roots basically drown because there's so much water in that pot with them that they can't breathe. There's no oxygen getting to those roots and they die off. Now dry rot, which is what I have the most experience with my Hoyas, and really I believe it's only Hoyas that I have issues with root rot or dry rot for whatever reason. I don't know, I guess I'm pretty good at watering, but the reason I have issues with Hoyas and specifically dry rot is because sometimes I'm afraid to water my Hoyas, so I let them dry out too much, and then so those roots, they get all dried up and it ends up killing them because once I then water the plant, those roots are not able to absorb the water, the nutrients, and you end up losing some stems out of your plant, or sometimes you end up losing the whole plant. So basically the difference, root rot, you suffocate your roots in the plant. Dry rot, you dry them out too much, and then they can no longer function correctly. They can no longer suck up water and nutrients, and the plant dies. So both things are bad, but personally I seem to have the most trouble with dry rot with my Hoyas. So now let's look at the plant that is having issues, and let's try and save this plant. All right, so this here is my problem plant. This is a Hoya australis. And you may be asking yourself, well, what makes you think that this plant is having issues? So the reason is because this plant has been dropping so many leaves, like probably 30 leaves have come off this plant within the last probably month and a half. So I know it's having issues. So, and I've been kind of dragging my feet with doing anything about it. But I have already taken some cuttings of this plant. I do have some propagations going on this plant, which when you notice issues with a plant, I highly recommend first thing you do is take some cuttings from that plant so you have backups. You have a backup in case you end up losing the plant. So now this particular plant, this Hoya australis, is actually, it's in pon. This one is potted up in pon, and this will be the second time that this plant has had issues. So originally I had it in soil and it got dry rot in the soil, so I redid it and I water rooted the plant and repotted it into pon, and I thought, well, that should solve all my problems. It's now in pon, it should do perfectly. Well, here we are again, having issues. So, I don't know, I'm really interested to look at what these roots are looking like. I really don't know what could have happened. It must be root rot, not dry rot, because unless there is a chance that I let it get too dry in the pond and I forgot about it. So, that is see, we're learning as we go. That is a pretty good likelihood that it was dry rot again because I forgot to water it. I bet that's what it is. So anyway, I'm really anxious to dump this and see what's going on in there. So here's the plant. I did water it recently, so there is some water in there. So I have my little catch tray here to catch all of that pond. So I'm gonna pull that piece off. That's the reservoir there. And see, I wasn't expecting any resistance, but it is, oh, there we go. So let's see. So right off the bat, I can see some rot, some stringy roots, and I will show you those. Actually, see, you need to get closer here and see this. And you can see, look, more leaves, another leaf, another leaf. So I think all of these roots are all shot. They're all, I'm gonna bring you in closer look at these horribly dead roots. So you see all these like hairy pieces here, and if you grab a root that looks like it's okay, like right here, this root right here, it looks like it's okay, but if you like just gently pull, see that? You see that? How that's like a sheath, just comes right off. So these roots are just toast. Let's look at this one. Here's a good one, a good long one. You might think, oh, that root looks fine, but watch. See that? And you're left with this stringiness here. So these roots are just totally fried. They're bad. So I'm gonna kind of separate these stems, and we'll have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 stems we can work with here for propagating. Now these roots up here are fine. See this? But as you go further down, see that? Bad. So I will try and save. See, these are bad too up here. That's bad. You know what? I am just gonna start totally fresh with this plant. This root, this one's actually okay here. I could save this one. Now, there's roots coming off of it that are bad, like secondary roots, but this main root here is fine. So I will trim this up. I'll save what I can of some of these. But yeah, the next step, what I would do is to check what roots are still viable, remove the ones that are not. So that's what I'm going to do now. Okay, so my usual shears that I use are not here. I think I was using them yesterday, I believe. So they are in the other room, and I don't feel like getting up to get them, so I'm just going to use these. These are not my typical ones, but that's what we're going to use. So I am just snipping off all the roots that are just can't be saved. which is most of these. So this is a good one here. This one is partially good. And I'm gonna snip off all these little extra pieces coming off the sides because those are all bad. Okay, so basically this is all just very tedious, going through, cleaning off as much of the dead roots off of the stem. You can see there's a few more there that I need to snip off. A few more stringy pieces, but it's just a lot of tedious, time-consuming work. So I have this huge stem, and it's all tangled together here, which classic Hoya. All the vines are intertwined and difficult, and some might say annoying. I would say annoying. But so I have all these big long stems. And where's my roots? Here they are. Okay, so it's huge. This stem is huge. So I cannot reroot this plant like this. It's just way too big. You're gonna end up losing all of these leaves down here. So your best bet is to trim up this stem. So I'm gonna make it much smaller than what it is. Here is a dead stem right here that I can just chop away. There. Yeah, dead stem. No sap is coming out of there. It's dried up. So that's gone. So now, like I said, this is way too long to try and reroot this at this size. So I just need to make it smaller. So I'm gonna chop right here. Get rid of this stem here. And what's left here, this that I cut away, I can propagate this piece here. I can make all new propagations, all new plants with that. And you can see this stem is not dead. This stem still has the nice white milky sap. So that is a viable stem right there. And I'm going to cut this one as well, right here, because I need to make this cutting smaller and a nice healthy stem here to propagate from as well. And then I'm going to chop this one right here. So here's our first, this is our first cutting from the main plant here. So basically when you are rerooting, when you are saving a plant from root rot, basically if your plant ends up with root rot or dry rot, you basically have to start over. There's no way you can reroot the original big plant and have it like be totally fine eventually. You're gonna lose leaves, so you might as well, you're better off just starting over from the beginning. I hope that makes sense, because it makes sense in my head, but maybe I'm not so good at explaining what's going on with the plant. Yeah, so if you need any clarification, feel free to make a comment. Ask me in the comments. So this one here, we just have to make all new, start all over again. This is a stem that was cut off of the main root system, and we just propagate from this. So yeah, this plant is going to give us lots of propagation. So here is another one. Again, I need to go through these roots, figure out what I can save, what roots can be saved, which ones can't. Most of these won't be able to be saved. So yeah, that's basically it. So these stems that have absolutely no roots on them anymore, they have to be re-rooted. What I do is you just have to cut it up. So let me show you. So we're just going to make a bunch of little propagations. So I'm cutting right above the node here, and we're going to chop it just like that. And you don't need a big long stem like this. We can make that stem much smaller, and there is one propagation. Discard that stem with no leaf. Here is another one. We're cutting above the node, making this stem a bit smaller. There's our second propagation. And here, separate those two, and we can start working from here. Cut above the node. There's our next. Cut above the node. Make this stem a little smaller. We don't need it quite so big. And so on and so forth. So we have a ton, and I have so much more, but all of these will be brand new plants when we're done. So you can, now let's talk about how you can reroot these. All right, so there's different mediums you can use to reroot your plant. You can use just plain water, and if you do use water, I would recommend, you know how I cut my stems shorter? Well, I would recommend keeping your stems as long as you possibly can so you can easily stick it into a jar of water. Just try and get those stems longer. You know what I mean? Like kind of like a flower stem in a vase. The longer it is, the longer your stem is, the easier it is going to be to keep it in that vase or that vessel that is holding your water. And your roots are going to come out anywhere along the stem. They can pop out anywhere along the stem. So as long as this stem is always submerged in water, you're good. You're good. It's just if your stem is longer, it just will make it easier for you. So another way to reroot these is you can plant them right into soil. Your typical Hoya medium soil, type of soil you use. I use an aeroid mix. That's what I would do. I would just take my pot, put these and put a few. Put like, I don't know, like at least 4 in a pot. Put them right in the pot of soil, and you'll grow a nice big, that's what I'm gonna do with these. And if you do pot directly into soil, you're gonna want to make sure you put this in a very humid environment. So personally, I'll put it in my grow tent. If you don't have a grow tent, you can stick your pot with your cuttings into a Ziploc bag, keep it closed, and that will keep the moisture in there for the plant. Another thing is you don't want it to dry out for like the next month after potting these up. Don't let that pot dry out. Keep it wet because those roots, they love that moisture. So you could also do sphagnum moss. I have done that as well. Not my preferred method these days, but it's a good one. It keeps those stems real wet. They do root easily with sphagnum moss. I just don't like having them to transfer them from the sphagnum to the soil. You can do it. It's easy, fairly easy to do. It's just an extra step. Why not just put them right in the soil and you're done? So yeah, that's basically it. So I have a lot of I got a lot of chopping to do, but that is how I save a plant that is having issues, that is having dry rot or root rot issues. It's just, you just have to clean up those roots, and basically you have to start over. As unfortunate as that sounds, and as unfortunate as it is, it's a fact. It's reality. So yeah. But you know, these plants, they grow fast. Before you know it, you'll have a big, beautiful Hoya again, and it's just like circle of life here with Hoyas. In my experience, maybe not everyone has the same experience I have, but yeah, that's what happens in my collection. So I hope that was helpful to you guys. If you have any further questions, please just put them right into the comments and I will answer them for you. And yeah, I guess that's it. I really hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. I hope you learned something. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button, and if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button. I'm here every week, twice a week, and I'd love to have you here as well, every week, twice a week. So I hope you guys are having a fabulous week, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye!